Hi there, Ages in the Secret. Welcome back. It's me again, John, and this is a continuation of our concept ABG analysis or your acid-base imbalances. Okay? So before we will proceed with our concept, I want you to watch Allen's test. Remember, I said that in the previous video clip. Just a recap on this, an Allen's test is a procedure done prior to blood extraction in order to evaluate collateral circulation of the blood vessel. Just a reminder, I do not own the video. I got this from YouTube. If you have time, subscribe to them. They have a lot of videos there, okay, very educational and easy to understand. Subscribe and search Physio Tutors. Don't worry, I provide the link later on. So here's the video. Watch this.
This is going to be a video on the Allen's test for blood circulation in the hand. To conduct the test, ask your patient to open and close the hand several times as quickly as possible and then squeeze the hand tightly. Then compress the radial and the ulnar arteries with your thumbs. Hold it quickly and then ask your patient to open the hand and release the radial artery. And you can see how the blood is streaming back into the hand quickly. We will now repeat the same process and release the ulnar artery. This test determines the patency of the ulnar and radial arteries. With a healthy artery, the blood should stream back into the hand quickly, indicated by the red color. Make sure to always compare both hands to determine if an artery is impaired. Alright guys, this was our video on the Allen's test to test for blood circulation in the hand. If you want to get to know a method on how to assess the blood flow in the fingers, click on the video right here or watch any other special test for the hand right here. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and give us a like on Facebook. This was Kai for Physio Tutors. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay, so that's your Allen's test, and I hope you learned something from that video clip. So I think you're now ready to learn how to read ABG or arterial blood gases. So before I will teach you how to read ABG, let's try to review the different values you need to remember about ABG, okay? So you have the pH, you have the PCO2, you have the PO2, and the bicarb, okay? So when I say pH or potential hydrogen, the normal is 7.35 to 7.45, and the mean is 7.40. I hope you can still remember this, okay? And the normal partial oxygen pressure ranges from 80 to 100 millimeters mercury. There are other books wherein their normal partial oxygen is 75 to 100. There are also other books that I happen to read that the normal partial oxygen pressure is 85 to 100. So what I will be using here rather is 80 to 100. Okay? Next, partial carbon dioxide pressure. Okay, it is 35 to 45 millimeters mercury, and your by 2 to 26 milli equivalent, okay, per liter. So these are values you need to remember, and I even discussed this in the previous video clip. So I want you to understand, okay, these values, their significance as well before you will proceed to this video clip or for this concept. Okay, now there are three steps. There are three steps for your ABG reading. Okay, these are three simple steps. The first step in ABG reading is to check the pH. Okay, remember, an increase in the pH means alkalosis. A decrease in the pH means acidosis. That's simple. The second step, once you're done checking the pH, the second step is to identify what is that problem. Is it respiratory or is it metabolic? Okay, so the second step is identify whether it is respiratory or it is metabolic. The question here is, how will you know if it is respi? How will you know if it is metabolic? You will know it is respi because if you check the pH and the PCO2, they are opposite. Again, if you check, okay, the pH and the PCO2, they are actually opposite. Okay? You will know it is metabolic if you check the pH and the bicarb. These two are equal. Okay? pH and bicarb, these two are equal. If you can still remember, okay, back in the college days or when you were still in school, most probably you were taught of a mnemonic Rome. Okay? Can you still remember your mnemonic Rome? Okay? What does Rome stand for? Respiratory, opposite, metabolic, equal. But this is the old mnemonic. So what I did, I made some changes and I added one more, and that is ho. So instead of saying Rome, you can say Romeo. So what is Romeo? Same, respiratory, opposite, metabolic, equal. What I added is your HO. What's HO? Hydrogen, opposite. Hydrogen, opposite. Okay, let's discuss them. If it is respiratory, they're opposite. Look. pH and PCO2 are opposite. Respiratory, opposite. If it is metabolic, these two are equal. Metabolic, equal. And hydrogen, opposite. Okay? If you were very keen with my discussion from the previous video clip, we talked about hydrogen. Okay? Now look, an increase in your hydrogen will decrease the pH. In short, if there's too much hydrogen in the body, it causes acidosis, just like your renal failure. Am I right? If you can still remember a patient with renal failure, the kidneys of the patient cannot eliminate hydrogen. Therefore, if you cannot eliminate hydrogen, hydrogen in the body accumulates. So when there's hydrogen accumulation, hydrogen concentration increases. As hydrogen increases, the pH drops, the pH decreases because these two are opposite. Okay? Next. A decrease in the hydrogen will increase the pH because again, these two are opposite. That's the second step. The third step, okay, is to classify. You need to classify whether it is uncompensated, partially compensated, or fully compensated. Most often than not, this is the part where nurses are having a hard time. They can identify pH, they can identify respi metabolic, but with this classification, if it is uncom, partially or fully, that is the problem. Okay, that is the part where they have a hard time classifying the condition. So again, there are three classifications of your imbalances. So you have your uncompensated, partially compensated, and fully compensated. So what I did, I made some algorithm on this, and you just have to follow the algorithm. So if you're uncompensated, you have your partially compensated, and last is your fully compensated. So the question, how will you know it is uncompensated? It is uncompensated if the pH is abnormal. Okay, pH is abnormal and your PCO2 and bicarb, okay, PCO2 and bicarb are unequal. I would explain it in a bit. How will you know if it is partially compensated? It is partially compensated if the pH is still abnormal, but what changes here will be the PCO2 and the bicarb. Look, the PCO2 and the bicarb, okay, PCO2 and bicarb are actually equal. How will you know if it is fully compensated? It is fully compensated if normal, but the PCO2 and the bicarb are equal. In short, never answer fully compensated. Never answer fully compensated if the pH is not normal. That is why we call it fully compensated, because it normalizes the pH. Let me give you an example. So you have the pH. So you have your PCO2 and then you have your PO2. Sorry, let's say it's your bicarbonate because PO2, okay, HCO3, you have your PO2 is so easy to understand, right? An increase in the partial oxygen is hyperoxemia. A decrease in your partial oxygen is hypoxemia, okay? So let's focus on this, okay, on this three, pH, PCO2, and bicarbonate. Let me give you values. Let's say the pH is 7.50. The PCO2, let's say that the PCO2 is 30. And the bicarbonate, let's say bicarb is 24. Okay? So let's identify. A pH of 7.50, what is this, high or low? Look at the normal value. 7.35 to 7.45. 7.50 is actually high. Okay? 30, the normal is 35 to 45. 30 is low. 24 bicarb, the normal is 22 to 26. This is normal. Am I right? Okay, look. With your steps, we will follow the steps and I will guide you how to read ABG. The first step is to check the pH. What is the pH? Increase pH, high pH. And high pH means that there is what we call alkalosis. So we know that this is already alkalosis. So if we happen to see in the option acidosis, eliminate those options with acidosis because you know it's already alkalosis. So it will narrow down your options in the examination. Okay? The question there is, what type of alkalosis? Is it respiratory alkalosis or is it metabolic alkalosis? Now, how will you know if it is respi? You will know it is respi if the pH and PCO2 are opposite. You will know if it is metabolic if the pH and bicarb are equal. So let's try to cover PCO2. We check pH and bicarb. pH and bicarb will reflect metabolic condition. And if it is metabolic problem, these two must be equal. Are they equal? No. One is high, one is normal. So we cannot use metabolic alkalosis. What about respi? Cover bicarb, you check pH and PCO2. It is respiratory if pH and PCO2 are opposite. Are they opposite? Yes. One is high, the other is low. Therefore, it matches respiratory category. So this is now your respiratory alkalosis. The question there, what classification of respiratory alkalosis? Is it uncompensated? Is it partially compensated? Or is it fully compensated? Remember in the principle, there are two systems in the body that will regulate pH. Respiratory system and urinary system. If one system fails, okay, to function well, the other system will compensate. Okay? And of course, the other way around. Okay? Now look, this condition is respiratory. If this is respiratory problem, the system that will compensate will be urinary, and that is under your metabolic. And what specific value represent metabolic? That is your bicarbonate. The problem there is that your bicarb is still normal. There is already a problem, but bicarbonate, your metabolic, did not kick in. Your metabolic, your urinary, did not help, did not compensate. In short, it is uncompensated. Why? The pH is abnormal and the PCO2 and bicarb. PCO2 and bicarb are unequal. One is low, one is normal. Unequal. Therefore, it is respiratory alkalosis uncompensated. Make sense? I hope so. So this is short, respiratory alkalosis uncompensated. Let me give you another example. Let's say you will have a pH of 7.33 and you have a PCO2, let's say, of 49 and a bicarb, let's say, bicarb of 28. Okay? So let's identify. A pH of 7.33, what is this, high or low? Look at the value. It's less than 7.35. 49, the normal is 35 to 45. What is this? It's high. Am I right? 28, normal is 22 to 26. It is high. Okay, so this is our scenario, our values. The first step again is to check the pH. Again, what is the pH? Acid alka. Decreased pH is acidosis. Correct. This is acidosis. Question, what type of acidosis? Respi or metabolic? Now, let's cover PCO2. Let's check pH and bicarb. Are they equal? No, they're not equal. pH is low, bicarb is high. So if these two are not equal, it will not fall under metabolic. Now let's check respiratory. Let's cover bicarb. Let's check respi, pH and PCO2. In respi, the pH and PCO2 must be opposite. Yes, they're opposite. One is low, one is high. Therefore, it matches with respiratory pattern. Therefore, this is what we called respiratory acidosis. What classification? Uncom, partially, or fully. Remember, this is respiratory in problem. If it is respiratory problem, the system that will compensate is your urinary that falls under again your metabolic condition, metabolic area. So what again value represents metabolic here? What specific value? Your bicarb. Is your bicarb normal, high or low? Bicarb increases. In short, there's respiratory problem. The metabolic area, your urinary kicks in, it increases your bicarb. In short, knowing that there is respiratory problem, the other system compensated. How do they compensate? By increasing the bicarb. In short, bicarb increases because bicarb is alkaline. Alkaline will neutralize acidity. Alkaline will neutralize acidity. The problem there is bicarb increases. It compensated, but not full compensation. But why not full compensation? Because it failed to normalize the pH. Because the moment pH normalizes, that becomes fully compensation. In short, the help was successful if it normalizes the pH. But sad to say that even the bicarb increases, it failed to normalize the pH. That is why it is only partially compensated. Why partially? Look, pH is still abnormal. PCO2 and bicarb are equal. They're both elevated. They're both high, equal. In short, this falls under partially compensated. Okay? So I hope you understand. Let me give you another value. Let's say that the pH of the patient is 7.30. Okay? The PCO2, let's say from 35 to 45, let's say that the PCO2 is 33. Bicarbonate normal is 22 to 26. Let's say that a bicarbonate, let's say it's 19. Okay? Look, first step is to check the pH. 7.30 is low. Normal is 7.35 to 7.45. 33 is also low because the normal is 35 to 45. 19 is also low. Why? Because this normal is 22 to 26. Am I right? It's low. So what is the first thing to do? Check the pH. So again, a pH of 7.30, is it normal? No, it's low. So what is this? It's acidosis. So we know this is already acidosis. Am I right? Question, what type of acidosis? Is it respi or metabolic? Now, let's cover bicarbonate. Let's check pH and PCO2. If you check pH and PCO2, you suspect respi. And if it is respi, the pH and PCO2 must be opposite. Are they opposite? No, they're equal. Therefore, if they're not opposite, they will not fall under respiratory category. Now cover PCO2. Check pH and bicarb. If you check pH and bicarb, you suspect metabolic. If it is metabolic, these two must be equal. Are they equal? Yes, they're both low. Therefore, it falls under your metabolic category. So this is your metabolic acidosis. And we know if it is metabolic problem, the system that will compensate, the system that will help is your respi. Now, what happened to your respi and what value will represent the activity of respiratory? Of course, you have your PCO2. Is your PCO2 here normal, high, or low? It's low. In short, there is a change in the PCO2 level. Most probably that the respiratory is trying to help. Am I right? Now, your respiratory PCO2 is low. We know for the fact that an increase in the PCO2 will cause acidosis. A decrease in the PCO2 will cause alkalosis. In short, it's a form of compensatory mechanism. The body now has a low PCO2 in order to increase the pH because again, okay, a decrease in the PCO2 will increase the pH because these two are opposite. Therefore, the body now is trying to decrease carbon dioxide to help increase the pH. Why will you increase the pH? Because the condition here is low pH. You try to bring up the pH, you compensate. The problem there is the PCO2 is low, but the pH is still abnormal. In short, the compensation is a failure. The help is not successful. Therefore, what is this? Still partially compensated. The other system is trying to compensate but not successful. How did you know it's not successful? The pH is still abnormal. But the moment pH normalizes, there is full compensation. Okay? Look at your algorithm. pH abnormal. Yes. PCO2 and bicarb equal. Are they equal? Yes. Therefore, it falls under partially compensated. So what is this? Metabolic acidosis partially compensated. Okay? Let me give you another example. Let's say that the pH of the patient is 7.43. And the PCO2, let's say that the PCO2 of the patient is normal is 35 to 45. Let's say that the PCO2 of the patient is 32. And let's say that the bicarbonate of the patient normal is 20 to 26. The bicarb is 20. Okay? Now let's identify. 7.43, is it normal or abnormal? Remember the steps. We're still following the steps. 7.43, this is actually a normal pH. But remember the mean. What is the mean? 7.40. Follow the mean. Is 7.43 higher or lower than 7.40? It's higher than 7.40. Okay? But we know that 7.43 is normal. It's just that it's higher than 7.40. Okay? 7.43 is higher than 7.40, but it's within the range because the normal is 7.35 to 7.45. 32 is actually low because the normal is 35 to 45. 20 is actually low because the normal is 22 to 26. Follow follow the steps. The first step is to check the pH. You know that there's already an abnormality. Am I right? Because if this is normal, the pH, the PCO2, the bicarb should have been normal. So there's no issue, right? But knowing that the PCO2 and bicarb has an abnormality, so you can say now that there's something wrong with your patient. Am I right? So what is the first step? Check the pH. What is the pH? 7.43. It's normal, but higher than 7.40. Higher. What's higher? Higher. Increase. Pag increase, you call that as your alkalosis. Am I right? The question there is what type of alkalosis? Respi or metabolic? Okay, let's go back. Cover PCO2, check for pKpH and bicarb. Are they equal? No. Therefore, we cannot use metabolic in this condition. Cover bicarb, check pH, PCO2. Are they opposite? Yes. pH is higher than 7.40. PCO2 is low, opposite. Therefore, it is your respiratory alkalosis. Correct? Look at the classification. Is it partially, uncom, or fully? Fully compensated means that the pH is normal. Is your pH normal? Yes, it's within the range, 7.35 to 7.45, but it is higher than the mean. Question, are PCO2 and bicarb equal? Yes, they're both equal. They're both low. Therefore, it falls under respiratory alkalosis, fully compensated. In short, it is a respiratory problem. The bicarb decreases because bicarb is alkaline. The moment you increase bicarbonate, it increases the pH. The more it causes alkalosis. So the body now is trying to decrease the bicarb because bicarb is alkaline. And when body decreases bicarb, it normalizes the pH. That is why the compensation of bicarb, the compensation of what we call metabolic, is a successful compensation. Therefore, it's fully compensated. Again, do not answer full compensation if the pH is not normal. That is why we call it full compensation, because it normalizes the pH. Okay? So please do not forget this. Now let me give you drills, okay, and I want you to answer them one by one. Okay? So I want you to answer this. pH, PCO2, bicarb. Try to answer. Okay, so I'll give you time to answer this